Hard done by. Sure. Goal shouldn't have counted. Ball was out. Shove in the back. And Anthony Gordon is offside. All three of which VAR said nothing to see here. But I have an unpopular opinion to follow that. Emergency press conference incoming.
This is the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test.
Yeah. Didn't deserve to lose that one, I don't think. And the apologies will certainly be incoming from the PGMOL, probably Tuesday. There's a game on Monday. Long story short, if you've been living under a rock for the last 3 hours, give or take, the ball went out of play in the second half, not behind the goal, but across the goal line. Angles have shown that the ball was out. The ball completely crossed the white line. There's green in between the white line and the ball is out. Follow on from that, the ball was not ruled out. The ball was ruled in. Play was allowed to continue. Ball is sent into the box. Newcastle player then essentially shoves, you could call it a forearm shiver, into the small of the back of Gabriel, the defender in the box. If you see the angle showing his face and his reaction to the contact, it's blatantly obvious that he was shoved in the back. You simply don't have that facial reaction if you're diving. Sorry, couldn't think of the word. If it's a dive, if it's it doesn't really happen. It's not that egregious. You don't have that reaction. Beyond that, Anthony Gordon is offside. The player that scores the goal for Newcastle is in an offside position. When the ball falls to him, he puts it in the back of the net. VAR looked at all three. I will go on the record as saying right now that I think the offside call against Anthony Gordon is probably the closest of the three reasons why this goal should not have stood. That being said, he's offside. Back up to the foul. Everything that Newcastle did today, I'm not surprised that foul is allowed, is not given as a foul, because they've been doing it all day. Bruno Guimaraes effectively comes through with a punch, a smack to the back of the head of Jorginho. That isn't called for anything, and VAR reviewed it. There's nothing natural about that motion. That's not he's running and his hand comes through and it's just simply the follow through. There's none of that. His hand is up high and it follows through. That's a foul. And that's a red card. Forget a foul, forget a free kick. That's a red card. That is dangerous play. This is no longer corruption. Okay, there's no more, or excuse me, not corruption. It's not incompetence. This isn't incompetence. And I've been saying this for months, probably a year, years, maybe even. This is not incompetence, ladies and gentlemen. This is corruption at the highest level. And when you look at the two clubs that are really starting to benefit from this, Manchester City and Newcastle, they're the teams that are worth the most money. And they're also owned by Middle Eastern countries who just simply, the more oil they produce, the more money they print. And my YouTube show may get canceled. My YouTube channel may get suspended. It may get deleted. I don't know. I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is that there is no other ownership group in the Premier League from any other country that deals with this. None. Even Manchester United, the darlings of English football, do not get away with things like this. There's no explanation, none, I can't wait to hear Howard Webb come out and address this Tuesday or Wednesday of this week and try to reason this away. Well, the VAR official saw that. No, he didn't. The VAR official didn't see anything but the ball going out of play. Start there. The ball is out of play. And I'll tell you this. There's goal line technology. And I heard a couple of people today say, well, goal line technology is only between the sticks. No, it's not. Goal line technology is down the line. It is down the line. And there is no reason to not have it entirely down the line, the goal line. Not just between the sticks, the whole way down the line. In America, we got an angle. It wasn't straight down the line. It was at an angle. And we're saying that, well, the angle is wrong. We couldn't tell because the angle is off. We can't see. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Period. I do not buy that there are not cameras positioned everywhere in every Premier League stadium to be able to give you the best possible angles of every call that could possibly be made. Okay? We're talking about putting a chip into players' boots and the ball and the sideline officials to call offside. There's discussion about having a chip in the ball, players' boots, and the side officials to be able to call offside. But we can't get this call right. There's no excuse that anyone can possibly give me that will convince me that this goal should have stood. None. If the PGMOL is going to come out and give an apology, then erase the goal. The apology does nothing. The apology simply says, hey, we got it wrong. Off you go. We've done enough now. We've apologized. Off you go. Be satisfied with that. But we've lost 3 points here. Okay? We've lost 3 points. So if you want to apologize, then go back because we didn't score. And I'll come to that in a minute. We did not score. So go back and disallow the goal. Simply disallow the goal. Guys, I see you all in the chat, and thank you all, Matthew, Russ, Gary, James. I appreciate you guys all being here. Believe me, I'm trying. Renat is here as well. I will try to get to as many of your comments as possible. Bear with me. I'm flying solo today. I lost my train of thought here. If the apology is going to come, disallow the goal and say, okay, the goal is disallowed. We're not going to replay. We're not going to play the last X number of minutes from the time of that goal. But just disallow the goal. And the match ends in a 0-0 draw. No goals scored. No goals conceded. It's a 0-0 draw. Both teams get a point. Off you go. That, in this instance, is the right call to make if we're not going to make the right call during the game. Now, we can go back and discuss Tottenham-Liverpool and what should have happened there, whether the goal be given. Those are that's another conversation for another time. This is about as egregious an error as I've ever seen. This isn't, and you know what? The on-field official, I believe, was Stuart Atwell. I could be wrong on that. I can understand he can't see everything. I can live with that. But this is why VAR is there. VAR is there to be the eyes in the sky. VAR is there to be the correction to the clear and obvious error. These are clear and obvious errors. Now, I'm not going to blame Stuart Atwell because I think ultimately I would rather, in instances like this, if there's let play continue and let VAR then step in and make the right call, but let it play out. Because what if the ball isn't out and we blow the whistle and the ball is out? Well, we can't restart from that point if the referee blows his whistle and the ball's out. and VAR comes in and says, no, the ball wasn't out. Well, there's a restart regardless, right? So we're not starting over within the context of the current play. If there's no foul, let play continue. If you think, okay, I don't know that I'm not going to call that. I'm going to let it play out. If it's clear and obvious, VAR is going to come in. They're going to rule it out. They're going to rule the foul. We get the restart, off we go. The offside, same thing. If there's at all a worry that maybe he's onside, then let it play. Let VAR be the reason they come in and say, wait, there's a problem here. We think there's offside. Fair. Everybody says VAR is the problem. VAR isn't the problem, ladies and gentlemen. The problem is the people behind the VAR. The video assistant referee is simply this. It's the technology. That's all it is. The technology isn't wrong. It's the people, and this isn't interpretation either. Understand that. This is not interpretation. This is, what is the decision that needs to be made? Who is... Yeah, real Ryan jumping in here. Give me a sec, brother. It's the people saying, what is the call that the powers that be want made? Where's the money going? And I'm not even talking betting, because I don't think it has anything to do with betting.
Right.
We talk about the NFL and how Vegas runs the NFL, the National Football League, American football. This is the PGMOL in cahoots with the Premier League, UEFA, and the FA, saying, who do we want to see win games here? Who do we want to see up the table? Who do we want to see fall down? Who do we not want to see win a championship?
Yeah.
Ryan, thanks for jumping in here.
Oh, brother. This is
12 minutes. The next 12 minutes are yours. Get it off your chest.
Oh, I don't know if I can go for 12, but
whatever you need, man.
Yeah.
Let me start here.
Yeah.
We'll let's just take it frame by frame, shall we?
Sure.
Ball out or in?
Out. I mean,
okay.
Yes, out. I mean, and I understand that if you there's a different view from over the top of the ball that you can see if, the sphere is still over the line. So, okay, fine. I'll level with you there. If you don't have the camera or the angle to do it, fine. Then I'll give it to you. But okay, fine. We'll say it was in because they didn't have the view to conclusively say it was out. So fine, I'll give that one to them if that's what we're doing. I mean, it's just such a foul. It's unbelievable that's getting and so I'm gonna be very curious to see. And I mean, they've done it on some controversial calls. I'll be very curious to see if they release the audio to the decisions.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. I just, and we've seen so much less called the other way, right? And I think we've seen it recently where Rodri goes down, gets a pen, barely gets pulled, whatever. He's getting tugged around the waist area. A pen is given. We're seeing 2 full arms shoved in the back. Gabriel's in perfect position. There's nothing he can do there. He's bodying is Joelinton behind him, correct?
Yeah. Joelinton's the one that committed the foul.
So he's behind him. He's got him boxed out. He's getting pushed in the back, so he's obviously going forward. Right. And the ball hits Joelinton's arm. He doesn't even flick it on with his head. It hits his arm. That's how it gets played through. We missed all of it. What took so long? What were they looking at?
You have to laugh to keep from crying in this instance because
I'm just now seeing Arteta's post match. I'm so happy he did that.
I haven't seen anything at all, so lay it on because I have not seen any of it. It
is so good. You can just tell that he's fed up and he makes a good point for what we're trying to do this year. It's too hard. It's too hard to win a Premier League if these are the calls that are going to go against you. We're on the road at St. James's. It's a tough game. Good team. And if you want to be fair about it, we didn't deserve to lose the game. And I understand, games like that are on the knife edge. You can lose them. It's cool. Not like that. Not like that.
Right.
Not when the Premier League it feels like it's so contested this year with who the teams are that are starting to make a play to try and do it. I mean, those 3 points or even point is going to be monumental as we go on.
Yeah.
I'm just, and it sucks because I can tell I caught the end of it, and you're going through your soliloquy, diatribe, whatever you want to say, and we're talking about that is fixed. That's where we're at now.
Ryan, I have been on that boat for a while. I look across the landscape of the Premier League, and it's not just us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's
right.
not just us.
Right.
There are a handful of teams in the Premier League that these calls just simply don't go against. And the fact is, 3 years ago, this call wouldn't have been the goal would have been disallowed.
Right.
I fully believe, I can't prove that, but I fully believe that goal 3 years ago, before the Saudi money comes into Newcastle, that goal's disallowed.
Yeah.
I'm 100% down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole of Manchester City and the Qatari owners and the Saudi investment group in Newcastle United are simply buying the Premier League now. They're buying the Premier League. They're buying UEFA. Look, the fact that FIFA basically earlier this week just came out and said, don't any other country bother bidding in 2034.
Crazy.
Or like that for the World Cup. And I'm not going to go down that road a lot, but they just said the Saudis came in, they bid. Don't anybody else do it. Don't anyone else bid. That was the statement from FIFA.
Like, we have our number. We're good.
Right. Yeah. Like, wait a minute. What if this is going to be very unpopular, but it's the first country that came into my head. What if Iran comes in and says, we'll double it?
Right.
I don't think they can, but what if they do? Well, your FIFA has said, nah, don't worry about it. We got exactly what you just said. We got our number. We're good. And it would not shock me if there were, and it'll never happen, because if anybody has the information, if anybody could leak anything, they won't, because God forbid they find themselves in a V for Vendetta Black Hood in a jail cell,
right.
Shuffling pieces of toilet paper between a hole anyway. I'm fully on board with the bottom line is the conspiracy, and that money is basically buying the league.
And I'm sure you talked about it too, but I mean, how's Bruno staying on the field?
Well, I don't know. I don't see punches like that in hockey. I don't see punches like that thrown in hockey during a fight. During a fight, they're allowed to do it.
And they look at it and they don't even get a card.
They did look right, and they looked at it. And this is a follow through of it's a fist.
It's up. It's
a fist, and it's up. And it's up. This isn't like I did say it's not like in the natural act of running. It's not in the natural act of trying to pull him back.
Right.
No, this is a like
or
extends.
One of those things where you're running and you're trying to like get over a guy.
Sure,
you run and you're trying to
like a swim move.
Yeah, right. It's not that either. And not only that, but the thing that really upsets me is you look at 2 seconds before, he's trying to clear out somebody. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's Vieira, who it is, but he's trying to literally take them out. He gets up, he's mad, he just runs after Jorginho and pops him in the back of the head. And then in the second half, he just shoves him. Jorginho has his back to him and gets the ball away. He's passing out wide to Ben White or whoever, and he just literally clatters him from the back. Nothing.
There are a couple of instances. I think we could go back and this is a pretty awfully officiated game. Stuart Atwell was definitely not a good official today. And not that any of them ever are great. And again, the human element of things I can understand. And I don't want VAR, instant replay, whatever you want to call it. I don't want these things analyzing every single minute of every game.
Right.
It disrupts the flow. I hate that we score a goal and we have to wait for VAR to approve it. I hate that.
Yeah.
But the way that Stuart Atwell was refereeing the game today, and he was letting a lot go. I
It
mean,
was
Duke. Go ahead.
well, no, it felt very it felt very similar to the Kovacic situation where
Yeah.
Oliver, who's also in the pockets of Saudi,
Sure.
right? He refereed the game out there a week before ours, didn't want to send him off and had 2 opportunities to do so and didn't. And this is kind of the same thing where they're just thinking, well, we don't want to send Bruno off in a high profile game and a red card's going to ruin the. I don't care. The dude's coming in with a high arm and hitting someone in the back of the head away, like, and we're getting a look at it. I can understand if they said, hey, camera was down, we didn't get a look at it, didn't see it, ref didn't catch it, his back was turned, cool, got it. Okay, he missed it, Bruno got away with it. They looked at it.
Right.
How do you look at that and say, yep, good, no yellow?
Nothing to see here. Off we go. Yeah.
From everything we've seen this year, that moment's all good. Yep, just they're playing tough. No big deal. Good.
I like letting them play.
Same.
I'm always a fan of letting them play. But you can't let them play to the point where you're getting mugged to score a goal or you're getting mugged to save a goal.
I forgot about this.
Go ahead.
This game doesn't really matter as much. I forget who it was against. But it was the same thing. There was a ball that was clipped in. Newcastle was playing. Alexander Isak shoves the defender forward, gets a free little header. Same thing.
It was. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm also about 7 Guinnesses deep, and I can't remember.
But I forget who they were playing. That's another all good, right? Ball's good. Ball gets clipped in. Defender's in position just like Gabriel is. He's holding him off. He's getting ready to head it away. Literally gets shoved in the back, right? Just shoved. And Isak's there all by himself, just, a little. I like to think that you can't fake that.
Like you feel the contact, you go down. But they showed the angle of looking at Gabriel's face. So the shove is coming from behind.
Yes.
So you don't see the shove. You see Gabriel's face.
Like
I feel like you can't simulate that without it actually being a shove in the back. You can simulate going to ground. You can feel the little bit of contact. You can feel the tug at your shoulder and just, I'm going down.
And that's a good point, because I think that they're telling defenders now, don't dive in that situation because you don't know if you're going to get that.
Well, case in point, after the goal, Gabriel, we're fighting for the equalizer now.
Yeah.
Gabriel has the ball along the goal line, defender, center back at the goal line. And he makes a turn and is fouled. And if he goes down, he did go down. He did get the free kick. So how is that a foul?
Right.
But the foul against him to allow the goal isn't. And the foul against him on Newcastle's goal, it's more egregious. I think Gabriel went down easily. If you're going to card him for simulation, there would have been an instance to do so. I would have disagreed with it. It
hit Jolinton's hand or arm.
Well, right. And so there are 4 instances. And again, the apology will be hollow because at the end of the day, why bother? Why bother? Real quick, Faceless Music is a new name that I have not seen here recently. If you've been here, Faceless Music, I apologize for not remembering. Glad you're here now. My friend who was a Newcastle fan thinks this is a disgrace. There you go. And you know what? And kudos to your Newcastle supporter friend for being real. Because if this would have gone the other way, I would have said, take those 3 points, put them in a safe, lock it up, and throw it in the ocean so that they can't take them back. I would have been thrilled, but boy, I'd be talking about it. I'd be talking about, boy, we got away with one there. And over the years, we've gotten away with a few, not many. We've gotten away with a few. But this is egregious. This is, if there were ever a clear and obvious, this is clear and obvious. And Stan, the rules call that violent conduct. I believe Stan's referring to the Guimaraes, punch in the back of the head of Jorginho.
He had a couple. I just cannot believe he survived that game. I cannot believe, because he had been looking for something to get him going the entire time.
Yeah.
He's coming in. He's, trying to rile the crowd, whatever he's trying to do.
Sure.
and they just let him do it the
And,
entire.
and you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with, here again, I said it before, let them play. Let them play. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
But be consistent. Now, there's got to be a line that gets crossed that we say, okay, we're going to let you guys go. We're going to let you play. Let you be physical. But we've got to draw a line somewhere. You're not allowed to grab a dude by the throat and choke slam him like you're the Undertaker. Okay?
And I think it's another interesting point. I forget. I think it was Mike Dean who was talking about it, and about the partnership, brotherhood with the referees, and they don't want to see those guys get destroyed on the road. I guarantee if that same thing happened at the Emirates, tough.
Yep.
Tough.
I was talking to someone, and I said that, so American sports reference incoming, baseball. You're a baseball guy. Go to a baseball game, and call goes against the home team. You're in Atlanta.
Yep.
Close call goes against the Braves. You know what they won't do in the stadium in Atlanta? They will not show the replay.
Right, exactly.
And it is a directive from Major League Baseball to protect the integrity of the umpires.
Right.
That's MLB's explanation for it. We want to protect their integrity. What? If they're wrong, they're wrong. Period. And you know what? It's human. You're going to be wrong. I mean, 30 years ago, we didn't have this. We didn't have instant replay in anything. And if you got it wrong, you got it wrong, and you just dealt with it. But at the end of the day, you feel like those things kind of even themselves out over the course of a season.
Right.
Not anymore. And you don't have that excuse to say, hey, it's going to even itself out. No, this is egregious. And I can't stop using that word, A, because it's a really fun word to use, and B, it's appropriate. But this is, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here. And I'm not talking in what is paid to the FA or the Premier League, whomever. I'm talking about the money that we stand to lose if we fall in position and we say we finish second by 2 points. Now, I'm also of the mind that we will make that up somewhere. But if we finish second by 2 points, we look at this game and say, we get one, totally different story.
Yep.
Maybe we go on to win it. Maybe they rule that out. We get the ball, we go down, we score. Who knows?
That's what's gonna sit on me a little bit, is that I think we could have. Now, we're probably gonna have another discussion about our attack and how we probably didn't create enough or whatever. But they were not in a position, I feel like, to score against us. I feel like we were playing well. I feel like defensively we were solid. I didn't feel like a goal. It didn't feel like a goal was coming.
Right.
Yep. There's games where you're just like, well, that was coming. I'll put my hand up sometimes and just say, you know what, like, that was gonna happen. It didn't feel like that in this one. Anything, I feel like a draw is fair, but I feel like we could have potentially went on to win it. And you said those points are going to be so important. It's tight, man. It's tight. We know what City is. Liverpool's, I feel like, right there. Tottenham, we feel like their time will come, but for the moment,
now
they're sitting on 26 points, right? So I just, and these are the games that if you can get something away at Newcastle, when you look over the course of the season, look at the games you play, like those points are big, because those are the ones that are on a knife edge. You don't know, like, you could lose it, a draw. Anyone before the game would have probably been like, hey, if we can get a draw, it's great. It's great.
Draw, yeah, exactly.
And that's where we were headed. And the fact that it got taken like that is going to sting. So I'm hoping that Arteta, and I can't wait for you to see that press conference. He's pissed. He's pissed, and he's gonna get fined. I'll tell you. I'll
Good.
He's definitely gonna get a fine, because he straight up called him out. Straight up. So I'm hoping that we use that as motivation. I took a brief look at the schedule a while ago, but it looks like there's some winnable games that are coming up. So I'm hoping that we use that as fuel. We rip up these games coming forward, get these 3 points on all of them, just sweep them up. I know we got Champions League, so I don't want to say it's a good thing, but I know that the players are going to be like
chip on the shoulder.
I bet they wish they could play Newcastle tomorrow. You know?
Yeah. You know what? Well, so real quick to the Arteta thing in the press conference, which I haven't seen, getting fined. I said this to the other Ryan. I was on the phone with him earlier, and I said to him, I want someone call this out and say, we're done with this. So if I have to forfeit half of my paycheck, I'm going to hire someone to come in and start investigating this stuff. Because there's just no way that this is incompetence. There's no way that we looked at it and said, oh, sorry, guys, we got it wrong. You didn't.
It's crazy.
You didn't get it wrong. You got it wrong, but you made this choice.
Yes,
you chose this not objectively. Not objectively. I said to the other Ryan, if I'm the manager of this football club today, and I have not seen Arteta's press conference. You're telling me it's great. He calls them out. Good. If I'm the manager of this football club, I'm calling out the PGMOL. I'm calling out Stuart Atwell. I'm not calling out Stuart Atwell. I'm calling out. I like that Stuart Atwell and the on-field officials let it play out because it is all close.
Yes.
It is all close.
Doesn't know for sure if it's out of bounds. Doesn't know if it's a foul. Doesn't know if it's offside.
Exactly. So, given his positioning, can't say for sure. Exactly. Everything you just said. I blame the VAR official, and eerily enough, the VAR official's name that is usually on the Premier League app, you can see who all of the assistant referees are, including the VAR official and the assistant VAR official are listed. They're not listed right now. They're not there.
Oh boy,
they're not there.
Yeah, they scrubbed that real quick, didn't they?
It hasn't been there since kickoff. I'm not saying. Look, Ryan, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
I know what you're not. But
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. But I said to Ryan, here's what I'm going to do. If I'm the manager of this football club, I'm calling them all out, and you're going to fine me. And that's fine. But you know what I'm going to do with that fine? I'm not going to give you the money because you guys, I don't even know what you do with it. I'm instead going to take that money. I'm going to write a check. And I'm going to put who it's made out to. I'm going to make it out to a charity. My choice, but I'm going to make it out to a charity. Sick kids, animal shelters, cancer research, AIDS research, whatever it might be. But I'm going to make it out to a charity. I'm going to make it out in the name of whoever I would pay that fine to, be it the PGMOL, whomever. It'll be in their name. I'll give them the money. But that's what I'm going to do with that money. I'm not going to give it to you so that you can take it and put it in the coffers for a pizza party. Okay? I'm going to donate it to a charity. And now who's the bad guy? I'm not the bad guy. I just donated $50,000 to a charity in their name. That's it. So find me again, and I'll just keep doing it until you look so bad, till you look so villainous that you have no choice but to either come out and say, you know what, we give up. We want the money from the fines, or we want the money from paying us to look the other way on these calls during a game, which is going to be.
Well said, my man. I have to run, but thank you for giving me a space for a second to just release that. There's going to be more. So if you guys are doing one on Wednesday, I'm in there, or Tuesday, whatever it is.
It'll be Tuesday, or it'll probably be Tuesday because we have Sevilla at home on Wednesday, I believe.
Okay, Tuesday. I'm there. There's much more to talk about. You
got to take off? You out of here?
I got to roll.
All right, man. Thank you for hopping on, brother. Appreciate it. Later, buddy. Yeah, this is it's that's what I think needs to start happening. And I got to be honest with you, I'm pretty proud of my idea. If you're the manager of a Premier League club and you want to call out the officials and you're going to get fined, simply make sure that the money goes somewhere where we know where the money's going. Say, yeah, they fined me $50,000 for comments against the referees. I took that money and I donated it to cancer research. I donated it to an animal shelter, to an animal rescue. That's what I would do. My money would always go to an animal shelter. I think you guys all know that. But yeah, I just start calling them out, because it's the only way that anything is going to change here. And I'm going to change direction, because I don't want to become the broken record that just harps on the officials. And I said this earlier to some folks where I watched the game. One of the things I hate blaming the officials. I really do. In any sport, I hate blaming the officials. Okay. Great teams, championship caliber teams, are capable of overcoming this. Okay. They will overcome this. Now, I would use Manchester City as an example here, but they don't ever have to overcome it. Okay. They don't get the calls that go against them like this. Okay. Great teams in any sport overcome the poor officiating. Or look at it a different way. We keep matters in our own hands so as to avoid having the referees come in and decide the game for us. And this is one of those situations where, and I'm going to go back through comments here now. Matthew DeSouza, and boy, you've been vocal about this. I have seen your comments. All this talk about VAR when the real fault is spending $100 million on Vieira and Havertz and our goalkeeper messing up again. This is just an excuse. Reel it in. Okay. I'm not going to blame Vieira. First of all, Vieira wasn't even on the field when the goal was scored. Havertz, I'm losing patience with Kai Havertz. Okay. There's a player there. We've got to figure out how we get the most out of him. He did better in the first half today. I thought he was better against West Ham. I saw some things from him, and I'll tell you real quick, against West Ham, I would have shouted this from the rooftops at halftime. I thought Kai Havertz was going to score too. Looking at the positions that he got into, the way that he was attacking things in the first half against West Ham, I'm like, this dude, he's going to score too today. Obviously, he didn't. So glad I didn't shout it from the rooftops. Today, again, getting into decent positions, but you can tell the confidence is lacking with Kai Havertz. He gets into the positions and then just he rushes. He rushes. He wants to get the ball off his foot. He has no confidence to shoot because he had 2 chances today where he probably could have taken the shot, should have taken the shot, because he tried to cross. He tried a low cross, and there's nobody there. So the ball's got to get past 3 or 4 Newcastle players to hit someone at the far post, but they're 7 yards beyond the far post. What are they going to do with the ball? So Kai Havertz needs to get some confidence here and shoot, because he had 2 chances today where he could have shot. Not saying he scored, but he had 2 chances to shoot. But Matthew, I don't disagree. Okay. I disagree with the spending $100 million on VAR. I disagree with that. That's not it. That's just that this is egregious. This is an egregious error on the part of VAR. David Raya did not play the cross well. When the ball was kept in at the corner, the ball was crossed into the box. David Raya misplayed the ball very, very badly. I don't disagree with that statement at all. I cannot tell you that he is the biggest player at fault. He's just not. Hey, okay, you want to blame an Arsenal player? Sure, blame David Raya. But he's not the reason he's not the reason that the goal stood. Okay. VAR isn't looking at it and saying, but he's out of position. He's not going to make the save. No matter what, he's not going to make the save. So we're going to let it go. It's a goal. He was so bad. He played the ball so poorly that they deserve to have the goal given against them. That's not what VAR did. VAR looked at the ball going out of play, said, we don't think it's out of play, which is not it's not subjective. It's in or it's out, period. End of. The ball was out. The shove in the back of Gabriel is a shove. It just is. I will say that the way that Stuart Atwell refereed the game, I don't know that that's inconsistent from the way that he refereed the game. I saw somebody else talk to me about the yellow cards that were given. Yeah, Matthew DeSouza. Again, if it's corruption, why did the referee yellow card 3 Newcastle players for the Havertz idiotic challenge? Not an idiotic challenge. Havertz got the ball. He got the ball. Studs were down, and there's minimal contact. It's a foul because he makes contact. But he gets the ball goes out. That's exactly what he's doing. It's not an idiotic challenge, in my opinion, from Kai Havertz. Why did they get the 3 yellow cards? Because they mouthed off. And I'm not blaming Stuart Atwell for this because I don't think he's at fault. They didn't even let him go to the monitor. They didn't even send him to the monitor to look at it. Say, you know what? It's close. Go look. You're the guy on the field. You're the guy that's going to get the heat if you change your call. Here's what we see. You go look. What do you see? And there's none of that. There's none of that in VAR. Why? I don't understand how in VAR it's okay. The eye in the sky is looking at it, and there's no consultation. There's no consultation with the on-field officials. Zero. Rarely. I've seen it more this year, quite frankly, than I have in years past since they implemented VAR. But send Stuart Atwell to the monitor and say, okay, head to the monitor. We're going to talk about this. VAR, chimes in. So wait a minute. We've got a situation. Okay. We want to look at this closer. Okay. Immediately at that moment, the on-field official needs to go to the screen. Go to the screen. We're going to talk this through. What do you see? This is what we see. What did you see in real time versus what do you see now? And when it's clear and obvious, that's when we need the, wave it off. It's a goal kick. Ball was out. They need to be mic'd up during games because when they're going to change their decision, they need to tell us why. In the National Football League, on-field officials, the head official, the lead official, has been mic'd up for 40 years. They throw a flag. They're explaining to the world why they threw the flag, why they called the penalty. Holding, and they call the player out. Holding, number 68, offense. He was giving them the business. If you've never seen that video, by the way, look it up. Holding number 68, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay the down. Off you go. Tell you exactly what happened. It's holding. We saw holding. Pass interference. We know what pass interference. If you're an NFL fan, if you're an American football, you know what this stuff is. So they don't need to, he shoved him in the back and then hit him on the head and, kissed his mother, whatever. There's none of that. You just, it's pass interference, and that's fine. We move on. In this, there's nothing. There's no communication whatsoever to the fans. And as Ryan said, if this is at the Emirates, does it hold up? Well, they don't want the referee to get booed and be lambasted by the home fans. So I don't. If they're afraid of that, then they shouldn't be doing this job. You sign up to do this job. You have to have thick skin. You have to be able to withstand the abuse that you're going to take because no matter what, you're going to take it. You're in a ground and you have every away fan segregated. You're going to be in there within earshot of them at some point. You're going to hear them. And then the rest of the stadium is home supporters. So you're going to hear it from both sides. So get over yourself. Be accountable. Back to my point, and this is where I'll agree with the sentiment, I think, behind everything that Matthew DeSouza has said. Take it out of the officials' hands. And I've been saying this for years now. Because of the VAR thing, because of the decisions that have gone against us, I've said for years, take it out of their hands. We were playing well. It was a good game. This is one of those games that's 0-0 you look at, and I would have looked at this as a 0-0 draw, and I would have said, thought we played well. On the road, I thought we played well. Not necessarily did well to get a point in a 0-0 draw, which I'll get into in a minute. But the draw itself is not a bad result at St. James's Park, given where Newcastle are as a club in this moment. With they're playing well. They're a good side. Okay. But to take the last two thoughts and put them together, we need to play better. We've only created 3 chances in the last 200 minutes of football. 4 because Odegaard scored on Wednesday. We're not creating chances. Well, what do you think is going to happen when you don't create chances against a good team? They're going to figure out a way to score. Most of us will blame the officials for today, me included, as I just dropped my pen. But we're not playing well. And I don't think that we've played particularly well at all this season. I have people telling me, oh, we're second in goal differential and third or fourth in goals scored. And I would say scoring is down across league wide. And I'm not about to go through every Premier League game that we've played thus far. We beat Bournemouth by 4. 2 of those goals were penalties. The 2 penalties weren't even great plays by our players as much as they were stupid mental errors, not even mental, stupid, just boneheaded plays by defenders from Bournemouth. We beat Sheffield United 5-0 a week ago, and that's what we should have done. And I thought we played well, but I'm not jumping off a bridge with excitement at the fact that we beat the worst team in the Premier League 5-0. That's what we should have done. That's just business. That's not above and beyond. Above and beyond would have been 8-0, 10-0. That would have been above and beyond. That would have been we're scoring goals for fun. That would have been it's not our job to take our foot off the gas. We're scoring goals. That's our job. Our job is to keep the ball out of our net. We're doing that. And our job is to put it in yours, and we're doing that too. And now my dog is barking because I'm all fired up. She's fired up too, by the way. Can hear her? That's our job is to score goals. Our job isn't to stop scoring goals. Our job is to stop you from scoring goals. That's our job. So we beat Sheffield 5-0, and that's great. That's fine. Excuse me 1 minute while I yell at my dog. Done. We did our job a week ago. We didn't do our job today, and we didn't do our job on Wednesday. And our job is to score goals. Our job is to create chances, and we're not doing that. So when you don't create chances, when you don't have a plan B, when all you do, Daniel, I'm seething as well, and I'm seething perhaps for more reasons than maybe you are. When you don't create chances, when you only attack from doing the same things over and over again, meaning keeping your wingers so wide that if they fall backward, they're going to fall out of bounds, okay? You've got to create. It's just, years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the end of the Wenger era, into the Unai Emery era, we talked about all we do is just cross. It's all just winging a prayer, right? Just cross it in the box and pray somebody gets on the end of it. It's a Hail Mary. Play the ball long. We don't do that anymore, per se. We like the buildup. But we have no attack through the middle. None. So we know if we get the ball out wide, and if the opponent can get enough players behind the ball out wide, we're simply going to put it back into the middle, only to send it out wide to the other side again. Simple as. We have nobody in the middle of the park. No one. That's Martin Odegaard's job, and it's Kai Havertz's job if he's going to be the regular number 8 going forward. Now, I suspect that'll change if and when Thomas Partey ever actually gets healthy, which is another conversation, which is a conversation for another show. But we simply don't play that way. We have a left 8, we have a right 8. Martin Odegaard is a pseudo number 10 playing as a right-sided 8. Kai Havertz, Declan Rice did it today, where he's playing as a left-sided number 8, if you will. But what we do then is we overload the wings. We overload the wings, and there's nobody in the middle. And it was evidenced today because we had crosses in the second half that were just aimed at no one. There's nobody there. So what we're counting on, what we're relying on here is Gabriel Martinelli to create on his own, get the ball on the left wing, dribble toward the goal line, cut it back to his right, and let off a shot that hopefully gets through. And there's enough traffic between the ball and the goalkeeper that the goalkeeper doesn't see the ball in time, and the ball goes in the net. Same thing on the other side with Bukayo Saka. Create one-on-one, but you're really creating one-on-3, because what we see happening is, whether it be Kai Havertz or Martin Odegaard as the left or right-sided midfielders, they drop away. Rather than attacking the middle, they drop away. So Gabriel Martinelli cuts in on his right foot, his strong foot, cuts in on his right foot to get off a shot, but there's nobody else there. You're taught in hockey and you're taught in basketball to follow your shot. You're going to take a shot, follow your shot. You're going to get a rebound. The worst thing that happens is the other team gets a rebound, but you followed your shot, and you're in a position to play a little bit of pressing defense. Not us. We want 3 guys taking shots, creating on their own, and everyone else is there to facilitate and get back to play defense. But we want to dominate possession. Dominating possession is great. And it's if they don't have the ball, they can't score, which that's not true, because they didn't have the ball on Wednesday and they still scored. I love Ben White, by the way. Just saying. But possession isn't the end all be all. It's just not. If you're going to dominate possession, you've got to have ways to score. You've got to create chances. We create a chance, the ball goes over the goal. Ball goes out wide. Ball hits a defender and gets sent the other way. Now, maybe we recover possession from that point, but the ball hits a defender's backside. It hits a defender's leg. It hits something, and it never becomes a shot on goal. Shots on goal through crowds, but figure out how to get the ball through. Okay. We have 5 players in attack. All right. Martinelli and Saka on the wings, Eddie Nketiah or Gabriel Jesus in the middle. And then usually it's been Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard. Today it was Havertz and Declan Rice. By the way, can anybody tell me where Martin Odegaard was today? I don't know what happened between Wednesday and today. He wasn't on the bench. Somebody drop in the comments where he was, please, because I have no idea. But we have these 5 guys in attack. Plus, we want to bring our left back into the fray as well. So now we're talking 6 guys. You want to throw the right back, Benny White. You want to throw him in the mix too. We're talking about 7 players in attack. 7. Where we're leaving our number 6, Jorginho, today, and our 2 center backs, William Saliba and Gabriel. They're our defenders. I'm okay with it. I'm actually very all right with it. But if the left back, and by the way, Takahiro Tomiyasu, player of the month for October, should not miss another start in a big game as far as I'm concerned. He's better than Alexander Zinchenko at this. Right now, he's better than Zinny. For my money, I would look to sell Zinny this coming summer. Keeping him around, but I'm looking to sell him in January because Tomiyasu is a better defender. And as far as I'm concerned, he's doing the same things that Zinchenko is doing in attack in the midfield. Tomiyasu is the better player. Jakub Kivior hasn't put a foot wrong, in my opinion. So there's another guy, and he can do the same job. He can do the job that Tomiyasu is doing and that Zinchenko is doing. Unless you want to put Zinchenko, just put Zinchenko in the midfield then. Just give him a run in the midfield. Just don't start him at left back. Start him in the midfield. Why not? That's what I would do. Okay. Knocked from the Sheffield United game, still played from the bench against. Okay. Thank you, Daniel Shaw. I appreciate that. That's kind of what I thought, but seeing him against West Ham, but then not seeing him today I would think you would flip the two. You know what I mean? If he's got the knock from Sheffield, don't put him on the bench for West Ham. Give him a week. Let him come in today. But what do I know? I'm just a guy that does a YouTube show. Man, I feel like I could keep going. I feel like I could talk about this ad nauseum all night. There's so much to talk about with this. It just, as I said when Ryan was here, I like the idea of letting them play. I like the idea of letting them play. I look, obvious fouls, call it. And it doesn't have to be a card every time. They got to a point in the first half where I think, kind of back to Matthew DeSouza's point of how did they get 3 yellow cards in the span? And Stan, you made a comment on this. I've never seen a player manage getting 3 players booked in one move. Yeah, but they ran their, and you could tell they were animated. I mean, they were hot. I would say I think they all deserved it. I think each player that got a yellow for mouthing off to Stuart Atwell probably deserved it. But that's different from the physical challenges. Let them play. If it's obvious, make the call. And I think there were a few obvious challenges in the first half that a card was deserved. Guimaraes should have been off, period. If he doesn't have a yellow card in the first half, he just should have been off for the smack in the back of the head to Jorginho in the second half. That's just a straight red. So he should have been off, period. Is it Dan Byrne? Should have been off. Easily. Should have at least played the entire second half on a yellow card. He virtually did. Because he was, I'll be honest, I don't really remember him doing much in the second half in the way of challenges, even. But as I said, I'm a fan of letting them play. If it's obvious, you've got to stop play. You've got to give the foul. Then give the foul. But this is just beyond. This is beyond the. It's beyond the realm of incompetence at this point. Deeply, I don't know what you're talking about. And Kedia should have been red. I should have seen red. I have no clue to what challenge you are referring. At no point do I think any Arsenal player should have been shown a red card, let alone Eddie Nketiah. But by all means, tell me why in the comments. Tell me why. But this is. Folks, it's one that you simply have to take on the chin because nothing now. The game is over. The final whistle is blown. There will be an apology. I'll bet you all in the chat right now, all 6 of you, I will bet you all a nickel that there will be an apology issued Tuesday or Wednesday. Howard Webb will give us some sort of explanation as to why the calls were made, the decisions were made. None of us will be happy with it, by the way. And we'll have no choice but to move on. And it's as simple as that. We have no choice at this point but to move on. The hope here is that the players look back on this and it galvanizes them and it says, okay, you know what? If this is what they're going to do, if this is how we're going to have to play the rest of this season where it's just us against everybody, then let it be us against everybody. Off we go. Let's do it. Let's go. Put it on the locker room. The Arsenal versus everybody. And let's have at it. Let's take that us against the world mentality. I'm not saying it always works, but it doesn't ever usually hurt. Take that mentality and let's just go shock the world then. Let's just go shock the world. We've got the team to do it. And I am excited to listen to this Mikel Arteta press conference. I want to hear his comments. Deeply VR was right to look at the game against Japan. The ball was in slightly. Ball wasn't out. Okay. So if that's the ball's out. the ball is out. And there are angles that are not straight down the line or overhead that show you that the ball is in. The ball is out. Unless I see an overhead or down the line angle of it to tell me that the ball is in, the ball is out, because every other angle that I've seen tells me that the ball is out. So appreciate the comment. Thank you. Wholeheartedly and respectfully disagree. But we now take this as no one else is going to do it for us, which is a mentality that, quite frankly, we should have had from the beginning of the season. And every team should have nobody's going to do it for us. We've got to go do it ourselves. We want to get to where we want to be. We want to win the Champions League. Let's do it ourselves. Can't rely on the guys in the funky colored jerseys and black shorts. We've got to do it ourselves. Okay? That's it. We want to win the league, Premier League, got to do it ourselves. We got to go beat the teams that we should beat. We got to beat them. We got to beat them. The great white mentality. Blood in the water. As soon as Burnley come to the Emirates next week, blood in the water. Off we go. Bury them 5-0. When we get Luton at home, bury them 5-0. We go to Luton, bury them 5-0. We go to Burnley, bury them. We go to Sheffield, bury them 8-0. Whatever it is, bury them. 1-0 against Everton, sorry, that's not good enough. It's 3 points, but it's not good enough. Draw at home to Fulham, 2-2, not good enough. 2-1 win in the opening match of the season against Nottingham Forest, 2-1, not good enough. Not good enough. You want to concede the goal? Go score 4. You can concede the goal when you score 4 or 5. Not until then. Concede the goal in mop-up time when the game is well and truly in hand. It's 4-0. Period. That's it. Folks, I don't have really much else on this topic. I could go all night. I really could. 15th apology. If that's where we are, Daniel, that's this season. 15 apologies from the PGA, from Howard Webb this season alone. That's twice the number of match weeks that we've played. Not quite twice. Maybe 50%. What match week is this? We in 9 or 10? I don't even know. I'll tell you in a minute. Sorry, 11. Okay, so all right, man. Boy, where does the time go? Okay, so we've played 11. So 11 match weeks, 15 apologies. If we get it, 15. Here's the other thing, real quick. I want to say about this. They looked at 3 different angles to disallow this goal. James McNicholas said, tweeted out, that no VAR check should take this long. And they looked at everything they possibly could to disallow the goal. I can't disagree with it. He's right. They did. They looked at the ball being out. They looked at the foul. They looked at the offside. Now, they did not look at potential handball in the box. I would probably disagree with Ryan on the handball thing. I think it hits more up in this area, and his arm is not in an unnatural position. But the 3 potential challenges to disallow the goal, the ball being out, the foul on Gabriel, and offside from Anthony Gordon, they looked at all 3 of them. Can't fault them for that. But if you look at all 3 and you come back with the decision that the goal stands, I'm not sure we get an apology. I'm really not sure we get an apology. What are they going to apologize for? I'm not sure they can apologize for this, because if they apologize for it, then they're effectively saying that the guys, the VAR officials, aren't good at their job. If they're not going to admit corruption, then they're admitting incompetence, and they have to change the VAR officials. These guys can't be allowed to officiate VAR another match this season. If you looked at a goal and you looked at 3 different reasons for the goal to be disallowed, and you still give it, and then your boss comes out and said you got it wrong, how do you keep your job? So I actually don't think we get an apology, because I think an apology is a veiled admittance of incompetence at the least and corruption at the worst, if that makes sense. That's where I'm at with this. I don't know that we get an apology, to be honest with you. I think we're owed one, but I don't think we get one. And I'll be honest, I don't really want it, because what good does the apology do? The apology simply enrages me more, because now you're saying you got it wrong. The goal should have been disallowed, and there's no repercussion for it. Well, the goal just stands. That's just life. No, it's not life. You have the power to change it, so change it. You want to make it a 0-0 draw, disallow the goal, post goal, disallow it, and the result is a 0-0 draw. I'm happy with that. I'm satisfied with that. Not this. Exactly. Daniel Shaw, an apology would mean as much as an ex-partner's apology. In other words, I would imagine you mean an ex-partner who cheated on you and then apologized for it. Yeah, exactly. Since VAR's inception, there have been 15 apologies, but sure. There have been a lot this year. I feel like every other week we're getting an apology from them, so would not be surprised at that. But yeah. Guys, I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, I could do this all night, and I want to thank you all for being a part of this. Deeply thank you for jumping in. Real quick, supporter of Man City, think the game should be replayed. The ref was terrible. I agree as well. I don't know that you can replay the game, because you open up a dangerous precedent to replay the game. If you can disallow a goal, then I think from that moment on, if you disallow the goal, then wherever the result stands from that moment is the result. So effectively, everything that happened afterwards is non-existent. Even if Arsenal score a goal, you stop it right there and you say, look, we screwed this up. Hey, Arsenal scored a goal later on. Now, if that ends up as the result where it's, well, if we disallow the goal and if it's a draw and you disallow the goal versus Arsenal level and you say, well, we want to disallow the goal, the draw stands. And that's how I think it should be. Goal differential, I think, would come into play as well. These are all conversations that would need to be had. Daniel Shaw, exactly right. If replays were to be approved, the season wouldn't get done. Exactly, because I think ultimately you open up a dangerous precedent here again, allowing a replay because of a referee error, VAR error, whatever you want to say. You're going to replay probably every game, or most. So, that in itself, we're saying that there are so many obvious errors that these people are making that we can't replay the games because the season would never get done. What does that tell you? That either the PGMOL and the FA and the Premier League have these ownerships in their back pocket, or I don't. There's just, it's corruption, period. No matter how you slice it, no matter what it is, it's corruption, period. There's just no other way to diagnose it, to dissect it. It's corruption. This isn't incompetence. It's corruption at this point. So, again, everybody, thank you for watching. If you're not already, please drop a subscription to the channel. Would really appreciate it. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers, and we would really like to hit that mark as quickly as possible. Would love to be there by Christmas time. Would love to be there by Thanksgiving. If you know 16 or 18 people who would like to subscribe to the channel, please share it with them by all means. Please drop a like on the video if you would, please, and thank you. Like I said, the best we can do is hope that at the end of the day, we get an us against the world mentality. And, bottom line, take that into Burnley and take that into Brentford in the matches going forward, and just say, we've got to do it ourselves. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it ourselves, and off we go. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Like I said, make sure you drop a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's been good footy talk. We'll see you out there.